Stop you. So that is why there are a lot of debates surrounding English. And why is that? Yeah. So what I try, so before, until now, what I have been trying to say is that there are perhaps not just two sides, more than two sides of English. So when we look at English, we look at different perspectives. We look at it from different aspects and trying to put ourselves into the position of those who don't have access to English, and to put ourselves into the position of those, because of English, that they don't have access to even to education. Yeah. So in that sense, we can be more, we have better understanding of how language can be used as a means to differentiate or to broaden the gap between the rich and the poor in the society. Yep. So in that sense, English is not always a good thing. Okay. So now maybe I just talk a little bit more about English in Asia. But, anyone tell me a little bit about Indian English? Any ideas? Any ideas? No? No. Okay.
It's the English in Bollywood movies.
Okay, so something as you say here. It could be, right? The English that they use a lot in Bollywood movie. Do you watch Bollywood movies? Yes? Sometimes? Yeah? And do you understand Indian English? Do you? Yes? Are you familiar with it at all? Indian English? No? Never? Okay. So how about Hong Kong, Singaporean or Malaysian English? Are you familiar with them at all? Yes? Or how about Filipino English? What is special about your English? Can you share with me, because I don't know much about Filipino English. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Because we were an American colony, we sound very American, sometimes Western. If you've been exposed to enough English, like on the levels of, say, a Westerner, you'd sound like me. And everyone has at least is able to carry on a functional conversation in English. And that's the reason why one of our national languages is English. Yeah, and a lot of us have a good grasp of it. It's just sometimes we're not confident enough, so we mix, so it doesn't feel so foreign to us. We throw in a little Tagalog sometimes. Being konyo. No, that's the term, konyo. Konyo.
Konyo. What does it mean? Oh, interesting. Tell me about that, please.
I think konyo is like a mix of English and like Filipino. For example, like I'll make a sentence which is labeled as konyo. For example, I say, I'll make bihis right now. So bihis is like a word for changing clothes. But then so it's like they mix English and Filipino. Okay, that's konyo.
Thank you. So do you use konyo all the time? So, yes?
I just want to make a correction. We only have one national language, which is Filipino. We have two official languages, which is Filipino and English. Okay, so English cannot possibly be a national language, so it's only Filipino. Next, the Konyo English that they are referring to is primarily class-based. So you cannot find that in places that where you find more of the lower middle class or lower classes.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much, because it is such an important and relevant point to what I have been trying to say from the beginning, is that it's really about sometimes what English we speak or whose English we speak signified where we belong in the society. So you just said that the kind of colonial English might have more to do with class-based. Perhaps, as you say, it is associated more with the lower middle class.
It's actually the upper class.
I think just to add a little context, why it's called that word, because it is not a good word. That word actually is a Spanish word, and it means something else. The reason why it's called that word is because it's associated with the upper class, which speaks which is associated with colonial Spain. So that's actually why that word is used. I do not want to say it because that's.
I think it would enlighten all of our young people in this room if you were to say, I think they are old enough to know
The meaning.
It means female genitals.
Thank you.
So when you do call someone that, and if that person does speak Spanish, then you are calling him or her. Okay. So, but it became derogatory because for the people who did not speak that way, it became a hallmark of just how high up you are. That you don't have enough of a grasp of Filipino. More often than not, the way they speak that kind of language, the Pacoño English, is because the people who speak it cannot speak Filipino well enough. So they compensate for it by using English.
Yes. Thank you very much. Yes. I would like to thank you so much, because I know that sometimes it's so hard to make people think politically about something which they've never thought about, right? And also now we can see that actually language, or how we use language, has a lot to do with where we belong, and also it has a lot to do with our education. Or in other words, we often talk about language, or in this sense, English, as a marker identity, who we are in many, many ways. And I think I really love the way you explained about when someone doesn't speak Filipino well enough, and the person has to compensate for it by mixing with English. So that is called colonial English. So in other words, I think it is something similar to Singlish or Manglish in Malaysia and Singlish in Singapore. But hang on a minute. Now, in Singapore, people talk about Singlish and Singaporean English. They are not the same things, they are different things. So the Singlish actually is often referred to as, a lower class English. The English that mass people, everyday people use. And it is often associated with poor people, lower socioeconomic class in the society. But on the other hand, people in Singapore are very proud of Singlish because they think that Singlish speaks best of who they are as Singaporeans. So people feel comfortable speaking Singlish. And sometimes they do it because that is a part of their life. And also it is a multilingual society. They have different languages. At least they have Mandarin, they have a Tamil, and also they have different varieties of the Chinese, and Malay, right? So they teach you, or they have Hakka, and what else? Hainanese, and Fukian, yes. So all these one, they can mix with English and make something very unique. It is a Singlish. And for a long time in Singapore, there has been a debate, like whether people should, just get rid of Singlish and just speak standard English, or speak a good English. But a lot of people say that now we can't get rid of who we are, we can't get rid of our identities. It is a part of us, it is a part of our culture. So people can be proud of STEAM